to the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce Business Spotlight, where we introduce local businesses to the community and the world at large virtually. My name is Alan Cohen. I'm on the board of directors for the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce. I also run a business in town called Living Great Real Estate. It is my pleasure to introduce to you the director for the Maurice M. Public Library here in Fair Lawn. Her name is Adele Puccio. Welcome, Adele. How are you today?
Hi, thank you. I'm great. How's everything with you?
It's a beautiful day all around. Thank you very much for joining us today. You're the director for the public library here in Fair Lawn. Tell us a little bit about the library.
The library is a very big part of the community for many people. The building has been here since 1966, and it's been serving many generations of children as well as adults. And unfortunately, right now, we are closed to the public. We're offering front door service, and we're offering a lot of digital services for people to try and get through this time.
Yes, true. So before we go on to what's going on right now, how old is the library and when did it really start here in Fair Lawn?
Well, the library started in Fair Lawn in the 30s, but that was in the older library building, and it moved here it reopened in 67 in the current location. Dr. Maurice M, dentist here in town, was instrumental. He was president of the library board, and he secured the funding to get this building built.
Great. He was a big advocate, obviously, of the library that
Yes.
felt it was very important to have something like that here in the community.
Definitely.
Who was before? So did it change the name to Maurice M. Pine Library when he took it, when he started funding it?
Yeah, I don't think he specifically funded it, but because he worked so tirelessly as a board member to get this library built, when it was built, they named it after him.
Great. That's terrific. It's always great to have philanthropists that do things like that to really help a community and all over the world. So how long have you been with the library?
I've been with the library a little over 4 years. It was 4 years in September.
4 years in September. Great.
Mm-hmm.
You're the director. So as a director, obviously we know what a director does, but really what do you focus on as a director? Have you changed the library? Have you moved it forward? And, what have you really been doing to help it out?
I've tried to focus on updating a lot of the library, not just the collection, but the actual physical space. And since I've been here, we've installed new shelving. We're in the middle of a project right now to put more new shelving upstairs on levels D and M, which are our fiction and nonfiction sections. We've put in new lighting. We've created a new meeting room, which unfortunately can't be used right now, but trying to make the library more user-friendly and give it an update because quite honestly, a lot of the fixtures dated back to the 60s.
Right, great. And how many floors are there?
There's 5. We have the children's floor is level A, and there's a meeting room and then the children's room down there. B is our main floor where you would walk in and the new books and the media are on this floor. Level C is the art gallery and the teens, biography and large print are on that floor. Level D is fiction and reference, foreign language materials, and level M is nonfiction.
Great. Is that a decent sized library? It sounds 5 floors. It sounds.
Yeah, we're actually a little on the large size for the library. The space is well used and well loved, though.
Mm-hmm. Great. I mean, because we do have other communities around. I know there's a nice library in Teaneck's, pretty big. Mm-hmm. We have Glen Rock and all that. And you're also all associated together in a way. Because I know you could share books that come from both, but how does
Definitely. We're all members of the Bergen County Cooperative, which is known as Buckles. It's been around for many years now, close to 40. we share books. So if somebody sees a book online that's in TNEC, they put in a request, it gets sent here.
Great. Are you larger than TNEC, or is TNEC larger than you?
I'm not sure.
Oh,
I'm not sure. I know we're bigger than most of the libraries in the system, but not all.
great. Because I remember when I was quite a few years back, when my children were young, we spent so much time downstairs in the children's section. I mean, it was getting crowded then. Did you expand at all? Is it the same?
No, we really, that is the one thing I wish I could change, and I have not been able to, is the children's room, because of where it's located. It's very difficult. We would have to give up the meeting room, but they need the meeting room because that's where they run their story times and their other special programs.
Right. And you couldn't put that the meeting room on a different floor where you might have other room.
We wound up opening up another meeting room on level B that hadn't been here before. It was an old technical processing room that we were no longer using for that. Most items come in pre-processed now, so we don't need the level of processing that there used to be. But what we did was, by doing that, we were able to move a lot of adult programs upstairs, and this way the children's room had more of a dedicated space with level A.
Yeah. And what kind of programs do you have now? Many children programs, but I'm sure, well, with seniors and everybody in between. Could you tell us a little bit about the programs that you're working with?
Sure. For adults, we have multiple book clubs. We have game night. We have a writers club, and we do special event programming. We do everything from informational programming, such as taxes and Alzheimer's and anything else that we can think of. Then there's the craft programs for adults. We've done origami, we've done Pasunki egg decorating, we have knitting club and many other crafts. Emiliana runs the virtual studio, a drawing workshop, and the recipe club where people can cook and create. And for the teens, we have a lot of teen programming, teen games, teen advisory board, teen book club. And of course, for children, we have just an amazing amount of children's programs, story times, special events, puppet shows, concerts, you name it, we have it. And then the Friends of the Library also sponsor programming. So they'll do special event programming such as concerts. And right now, upcoming, they have an improv night coming up, and they're selling tickets for that. So information for that can be found on our website and on the Friends of the Library page on Facebook.
So the Friends of the Library is separate from the library in a respect?
Yes, they are a separate group that was organized in order to help promote the library and provide funding for special events at the library.
Great. Yes, I remember I interviewed Alexander Cordillo, who was with the Friends of the Library, and
Yeah.
he was very enthusiastic about the programs as well. Yeah, great gentleman, and the enthusiasm of bringing people to the library. So obviously with COVID right now, it's put everybody back. So are people still coming in to get their books? How is that working? Because they can't.
People place orders online for their books. We pull the books off the shelf, or we get them from other libraries and they can pick them up. They just leave their name at the door and we give them the information. What we like to do is offer a special service, personal shopper service, where if you're not sure what you want to read because you're not able to come in and physically browse, we'll have you fill out this form, a couple of different questions, and our staff will pick the books for you. The children's room has been doing an amazing job with that for children's, and my reference department does it for the adult programming, the adult books, and people have been very happy with that service. So we encourage you, if you don't know what to read, just give us a call or fill out the form and we will pull books for you.
That's terrific. That's really terrific. So in doing that, so people cannot come in. So you don't even have like 25% capacity or really closed.
We did for a while, and then the borough closed us. all of the borough buildings right now are closed to the public.
So do you find, obviously, when you're giving out these books, how do you sanitize them? They have to be sanitized going out and coming back in?
Sure. We quarantine items for 3 days when they come back. So even though you return it, say you return it Monday, it's not going to get checked in until Thursday. However, we backdate it so that you're not penalized for being late. I mean, we don't collect fines anymore. We went fine free last year, but if you borrow books from other libraries, the fines would still accumulate for the libraries that are not fine free, but it won't happen since we backdate the books that are returned.
So how do you sanitize each? But I mean, you can't do every page.
No, we don't physically sanitize. We just put them in quarantine for 3 days.
You think that that's enough time? Is that what?
The CDC says that that's more than enough.
Great, great.
And nobody here has contracted anything from a book, so we're doing well.
Yeah. I mean, that's great because, I mean, right next door to you is our town hall, the borough hall, and they closed down because of COVID.
Yeah, we had a small closure right at the beginning of the year, January 3rd. We had someone exposed to COVID, two staff members exposed to COVID over the holidays, and nobody else on staff caught it. So we were very lucky.
Oh, terrific. And do you still have a full staff, or did you have to cut down on your staff?
We don't have as much need for the part-timers that we used to have. We had a lot of part-time staff who were here to do things like shelving and filling in on shifts and whatnot, because we don't have that much desk work right now. We don't have them coming in, but we do have our regular staff, our full-time dedicated staff are here.
Yeah.
And doing what they need to do.
That you have, obviously, you probably had to cut back on the programs because now you can't have the children come in to do this. You can't do origami. You can't do all that. So
but we're just doing it online. So it's the same.
You have like a Zoom origami class? What do you mean?
We do. We have everything has been transitioned to online. So the children's department does a book of the day. They do music programs, music and movement. They do story times, and they put them on Facebook, YouTube, and other channels, TikTok. We've had multiple programs on Zoom. We do this every month. Our book clubs are on Zoom. Our knitting club is on Zoom. And we actually do have coming up very soon an origami program. Eileen Kahn will be teaching origami. Mm-hmm. So what we do is we get the materials ready ahead of time. We create bags for the people who have registered. They pick them up the same way they would pick up their books, and we leave them at the door, and then they tune in to the Zoom program at night.
Oh, that's incredible. The way you were able to adapt that is really incredible. It must have been a lot of maneuvering to make it as smooth as it sounds like it is right now.
It was, but I have to tell you, the staff have all been wonderful. They transitioned on a dime. When we were closed and when last March, we immediately went to an online format. And then when we came back into the building and we couldn't yet open to the public, we had actually it was Kate Knapp's, the children's librarian, who suggested we do pop-up libraries outside, where we took our equipment and our books outside so that people could browse. So we're trying as much as possible to keep the community engaged.
As much as us all, right? I mean, when the pandemic first hit, I think we all switched to online. I mean, I also teach at William Patterson University, and I immediately went online. And then this semester, we just started this semester, and they gave me the option: do you want to do it online, or do you want to, come in and wear your mask? And I immediately said, well, I'll stay online. It was an adjustment, and I'm sure it's an adjustment with you. And also, while you're doing these Zooms, keeping people, active with you and the rapport between you is essential, so that somebody doesn't come on and then they shut off their camera for a while. But I know that with some students, and I don't let them do that. I'm sure that's not the problem, because this is more voluntary, where school, they have to be there, in class, so to speak. But how do you do the interaction between you and the Zoomites or whatever we want to call them?
With most of our Zoom programs, people do stay engaged and interact. They can certainly put questions in the chat if they don't want to speak. Uh, if they're following along, great. We really hope that they are, and we hope that they're getting something out of it and really enjoying it. Certainly with the book clubs, there's a lot of discussion. The game nights and the trivia nights are very interactive, where people have to be on and speaking and participating in order to uh, play or whatever with the program that's currently going on.
Great. So I would imagine with the children, it's a little bit more difficult because obviously a parent would have to be on with them and help that child, get interacted with the, technology. But they must be doing that a lot also with their school programs.
Sure. And that's one of the reasons that the children's programs, the story times, movement music, children's yoga, things like that, are being done as YouTube videos that are then, hold on one second, sorry. They're put on a YouTube video that can be shared out. So they don't have to watch it at the moment that it's being broadcast for the first time, whether that's on Facebook Live or whatever. It's going to be something that they can refer back to. It's not something that they would interact with one-on-one. They would just enjoy a story, they would enjoy the music, and they would take care of it.
All right, so that's the way the children handle it. Now you go up to the teen level. Do you find as many teens active with the library, or are they preoccupied with their schooling?
No, we've been very lucky with the teens. And I have to say, that is one demographic that most libraries have a hard time attracting. And we have a really good following. So we have the teen book club, the high school book club. We also have different games for teens. They do join into the trivia games and game night, but they have specific games for teens. I know Liz likes to play a game called Werewolf with them, and they're very interactive with that. There are teen crafts, there's jewelry making, things like that, and also coding, computer coding.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah, so they stay well informed and active with that, which is really nice to see. And our teen advisory board group, they are the ones who kind of advise the library on what teens want and what they want to see.
So coding, so you're actually teaching, is it like a course or?
Yes, we signed up with a group called Girls Who Code. It's a nonprofit that teaches coding, and they offer the classes.
Great, that's terrific. We'll talk about how you staying updated in technology in a moment. I just wondered, because we did children, we're talking about teens, and now what before seniors? There's adults that are before seniors. Are they involved with different programs as well?
Yes, we've worry that we're not getting to as many of our seniors as we used to, because there was always a group that were not so technologically proficient, and they were the ones who came in every day and like to come in and take advantage of different things here. And I am afraid that maybe we're not connecting with them as well as we can be. They do call, some of them, and order books to be picked up, but I don't think they're getting enough of the programming that they used to.
Sure. I mean, most of them seniors. I mean, at the early part of being a senior is one thing, but the elderly, if you get up into your late 60s, 70s, 80s, they may not be technically savvy to do.
Sure. I mean, I have one patron. He's in his 90s, lovely gentleman who came in all the time, and he still stops by, but he's not technologically proficient at all.
Right. So it's really a shame, because now is the time that they really need that interaction with somebody else.
Yes.
So, that's a worrisome thing for anybody. I mean, my mom lives down in Florida, and she's going to be 90 this year. And we finally got her to, on a cell phone, use Facebook so she sees something, but also WhatsApp. So once a week we could at least see her. She's pretty much by herself. She used to be very active, just like you're saying, and of
Right.
interaction. So it puts them into some type of isolation, which is very crucial to their health as well. So can you reach out in other ways? But since you're the library, you're not really the senior center. So
Right.
there are
Right.
ways that you can reach out to them, or you just
Just phone calls and staying in touch. Unfortunately, we're not able or set up to have home delivery right now. We were trying to put together a volunteer group for that, but it hasn't gotten off the ground yet.
you can't get any more friends? I mean, you have so many friends on the library.
So the problem is some of our friends of the library are also in the age demographic where they don't exactly want to be interacting with other people right now.
All right, great. So we talked about your program. Now, funding wise, how is the library funded?
All funding in New Jersey is based on a formula called the 1/10 of a mill or millage. And then towns can choose whether or not to give over and above that funding. We are funded above our a third of a mill. It's actually not 10th, it's a third. But we are funded above our third of a mill by the town because the town has recognized what the library brings to the community.
Yeah, it's very valuable asset to the community, actually. So, and these programs, or you said the Friends of the library also do help you with some funds.
Yes, our the Friends raise money to fund the programming that goes above and beyond. Right now, the Friends are paying for our Zoom accounts that are allowing us to give these online programs for everybody. They paid for the museum passes, some of the museum passes that we were offering to borrow. They've paid for different concerts over the past few years, and they give a scholarship every year at the high school.
Right. So that's above and beyond the regular funding that you're getting, of course.
Right, definitely, definitely.
The supplementary funding. And you did say about the free passes, because when I did interview Alexander, he mentioned that you could get free passes to the biggest museums in town and all over. And I never knew that all these years that I'm in Fairlawn for well over 20 years. They should make that a little well known, because we used to go, of course, small donation to go into these other places, but it's a valuable thing. You say, oh, if I could go free, you might take the family, you know.
Right. We had expanded our museum program, our museum pass program, right before COVID hit. So some of them were not able to be used, like the Children's Museum of Manhattan and the Transit Museum. A lot of them shut down due to COVID. Others are still open, and we have passes. We have a pass to the Intrepid. We have a pass to the Guggenheim, things like that, Montclair Art Museum. So we just ask people to go online and register for them at our website. We have a link for the museum passes.
That's terrific. That's great. Um, uh, did the Children's Museum in Manhattan actually shut down completely, or just COVID?
They were offering online programming.
Yeah, so the building where they were at, it was a wonderful little
Yeah,
building.
I think they've reopened now, but for a long time they were shut.
Yeah. Hmm. Great. All right. So why don't you give us a little bit about your background? How do you become a director of the library, and what is your background?
Okay, I have a Master of Library Science from Rutgers University. I started out as a children's librarian. I transitioned into being I would say reference librarian, but it was very specific. I transferred into the art and music room at the Bayonne Library many years ago. All of my experience there was in the arts, music. I did all of their programming and grants writing. And then after that, I became head of reference at Hoboken. And then I was head of reference and then supervisor of the library for Bloomfield. And then later on, I was director of the Bloomfield Library before being hired here.
Wow, that's a beautiful resume. That's terrific. And what gave you your interest into being in the library? Are you just an avid reader that started a thirst for knowledge and reading and
Sure. I grew up originally, I lived in Brooklyn, and I spent a great deal of time at the Bay Ridge branch of the Brooklyn Public Library. Loved it. Moved to Jackson, New Jersey. And when I moved to Jackson, New Jersey, they didn't yet have a library. And I was horrified. And my mother immediately joined the committee that was working with the Ocean County Library to build a library in Jackson. And they did. I volunteered in my high school library. So I've always been wanting to be in libraries. And it was more than just a love of reading. Yes, I was always an avid reader. I was the kid who was taking out 10 books a week and schlepping them home every Wednesday. But it was also the interaction and the idea of being able to find out information, that so much information was available.
yeah. So now that the information has really changed, you can find anything out online. Uh,
You can, but you have to be careful. Don't forget, anybody can edit, say, Wikipedia. Anybody can edit Wikipedia. You don't know if the information is accurate. You really have to know how to trace and trust the sources.
right. That's the key, the source, where it comes from.
Exactly.
Right.
Exactly.
Students doing reports and stuff like that. Where
Right.
is the source coming from? If it's not a legitimate source, you're not getting the right information.
Exactly. And I think that that's one of the biggest challenges to libraries now is teaching information literacy in the digital age, because people fall down these rabbit holes of misinformation. I mean, just today I was looking at people's, reactions to different things about the vaccine and the misinformation about the vaccine. And so I will link them to the actual sources.
That's great. That's great. Well, we're starting to wrap it up. Could you give us a little thing of enthusiasm or inspiration, something, because you are so involved with so many community members? I mean, that's your position itself. Obviously, you have to deal with the community at large. And the other question was, you are a member also of the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce, the
Yes.
library. And how do you think that has helped the library?
I think it's helped the library with visibility. We love participating in things like the street fairs and really just letting everybody know that whether their questions are business or personal related, we're here for you. We're here for the entire community, the business community as well as the personal community.
Great. So, and a little bit of inspiration to get us out of COVID, something you like.
We are going to be here for you, and we will be back stronger than ever. We cannot wait to open our doors. We have plans in the works for bigger programs as the year goes on, and we will transition back to in-person programming just as soon as we can. We're hoping that we'll be able to open to the public very soon. Once we open, obviously it'll be with the governor's orders of limiting people to start with, but I think you'll see some real changes. We have not just sat on our laurels here. We've been working hard to bring the library into the 21st century for you.
Well, that's terrific. That's fantastic. And you have to make this downtime uptime.
Yes, very much so.
The way you're continuing to keep this alive. I like to say it's really been a pleasure, Adele, speaking with you. You and the library itself is such a valuable asset to
the library is only as valuable as the staff, and I have the best staff. They are truly magnificent. The way that they care about the community and the way that they have embraced all of this in the time of COVID has been amazing. They are truly amazing.
Those are our heroes today. That's great. So once again, Adele Puccio, she's the director of the Maurice M Free Public Library here in Fair Lawn. We'd like to thank you very much for speaking with us today. I'd like to thank the Fair Lawn Chamber of Commerce for giving me the time to speak to these community businesses, introduce them to the community, and also, since this will be virtual, online, to everyone else. My name is Alan Cohen, and I thank you very much for this opportunity. Thank you.